These are the interviews from Chat City on Preston FM. Don't forget, our show is live weekdays from 10 till noon. Tune in and become part of our family.
It's Matt Bowden, it's Andrew Nance and Sarah Allen, and they're all from Black Box Theatre Company. So a very good morning to you all.
Good morning.
And maybe before we talk about the performance today at Continental, maybe you can tell us something about Black Box Theatre.
Black Box, well, it's a long history really. It's been going for well over 20 years now. Primarily started as an education company. Over the past few years we've branched out into touring professional theatre, touring at least one big Shakespeare production a year. And this is our third time at the New Continental. We've been here with Hamlet, that was 2010 I think, and then we did Of Mice and Men, and now we're back again with Romeo and Juliet. So yeah, Black Box had a long career, based in Liverpool, working all around the Northwest and the Midlands.
And what about the name Black Box? Why Black Box?
Well, Black Box is a type of stage where you just have a black box theatre where there's no big pieces of set, and that's sort of how we work all of our shows. Because we're touring and we don't get any funding, we have to make sure that everything is simple but very versatile. So we bring as little set as we can, but use it in so many different ways that it can symbolise so many different things, which if you or your listeners come this evening, you'll be able to see that and how it works. So he keeps things very simple but very effective.
And doing productions, as you say, Shakespearean productions, how difficult is it then to choose what you're going to tour with then, to put it over to the audience?
It is a very difficult one. We pick the Shakespeare favourites, or the ones that are the most famous, that most people know. I always think when directing, will my mum and dad understand this? Because the language is a foreign language to a lot of people. I know,
that's why I was thinking this one.
So we pick shows that people probably know the story, so it's not a massive issue if they don't understand every single line in the production. And we also like to still keep in connection with education and school, so we do a lot of productions that are on school syllabuses. Othello's on the A-level syllabus, Romeo and Juliet's a favourite amongst sort of Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, so we pick things that we know schools will engage with as well as audiences will understand, because they've probably studied them at school 30 years ago.
And much longer in some cases, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, you started March, is that right? Bradford, was that Bradford, Yorkshire, not Bradford, Manchester?
Bradford, Yorkshire.
And how's it been going then?
Really, really well. I'm sure the cast can contest that. It's developed every single performance, as good theatre should. We've developed and worked on things from Bradford and over the past sort of 5 weeks of touring, and it's really nice that we're coming to Preston with the finished product. This is the show that's been developing for 5 years. 5 months. So it's great, really great. It's gone very, very well.
So, and we've also got Romeo and Juliet in the studio. So that's Sarah and Andrew. So Sarah, let's come to you. How's it going from your point of view?
Yeah, to kind of echo what Matt was saying, it's really developed as a show, and every show's been different. I think it's the great experience of being on tour, like taking the show to different venues, and I think the different venue changes the performance. So it's one performance is never the same to another performance, really, and it's a nice little kind of treat, really, because you get to kind of, you can always change your style, you can change little things that you do. We're quite free with the performance, because, as I said, the space is always different in each venue. But to play Juliet, obviously, it's such an iconic, famous character. So I always kind of try and put my spin on it, so I'm not kind of just reproducing, other famous people that have tackled the role. So it's nice to put our own spin on the production with the modern twist that we've brought for it as well. So yeah, it's kind of developing and changing each time. So
when you landed the part, did you have in your head a kind of spin on this that you wanted to bring to it as an actress? Yeah,
I knew that it was going to be a contemporary adaptation of the production, so I looked at kind of what teenagers are like today, really, because that's the brilliance of Shakespeare. You can kind of use his text written, kind of 300, 400 years ago and make it relevant to today's society. So I looked at how I can make Juliet appeal to our teenage audiences today, because we're taking it to schools, and you want the school children to kind of be able to relate to the characters. So it's been a really great opportunity to look at kind of social behaviours of today using modern technology, social networking like Facebook, Twitter, texting and things. So it's quite fun to be able to bring those elements to the text.
Right. And what about your background? How did you get involved in theatre? Has it always been a passion? Is it something you've always wanted to do?
Definitely, from a young age. I grew up doing pantomimes, local kind of, bits and bobs there. I recently completed my training at Manchester School of Theatre, so that's how I kind of I've got into the industry from there, really. But I think it's been something that I've always loved Shakespeare, and been involved in lots of local drama groups that do open air Shakespeare and things. So yeah, Shakespeare's always been something that I've really enjoyed doing, and it's just an honour to perform the text, really. So. And
this the first time you've toured with a play?
It is, yeah.
So what's that been like?
It's so fun. We're really lucky that we all get on as a cast. I think that's very important, because we're all kind of stuck in a van together. It's a long
yes,
slog.
I suppose it helps, doesn't it?
It does, definitely, and it's added to the experience. Really, it's not just getting there and performing the show. We have to kind of travel together, and we were up in Buxton a few weeks ago, and we've had to stay over at times and stuff. So we've made it as fun and enjoyable as possible, really, which definitely helps.
Right, and if you go along, which I know you will today, either this afternoon or this evening, you can also see Andrew. So Andrew, more or less same kind of question to you. Is this what about your interpretation? I mean, how did you feel when you landed the part of Romeo? Because, as Sarah was saying, it's such an iconic part. It's one of the biggest parts, really, isn't it, to play Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to play one of these parts when you're a certain age as a person, as an actor. Because it's I suppose you can. I mean, obviously, people play these parts at all sorts of different stages in their careers, but it's nice to have the opportunity to do it. For me, at an age where I'm almost age appropriate for it, and we're both out by a couple of years, aren't we?
Me more than you.
Yes.
So there's a bonus there, because I mean, in terms of like the story and things, I can't really. Sarah's covered a lot of ground here, and so have the good mezzers of Dire Straits for us. But what isn't revealed in their song is the sort of is the kind of violence of it, the intensity, and how fast it is. Because that's the thing. Like we things happen very quickly in the play, which is odd for I think. Sort of, you think of things back in the old days of moving things moving quite slowly, and the idea of going faster is quite a modern idea, but things happen very quickly, which is why I think it's very appropriate for this production to be set in modern times. But yeah, so.
And that's really true, the pace of it, and particularly when you're doing it in schools, I would imagine that pace is what actually also keeps a lot of children on, fascinated by watching you and by the performance. First time you've toured with anything?
No, I've done one or two tours before. I actually have toured. This is my second time playing Romeo.
Yeah, and what a very different production. This one, or very similar?
Utterly different. Yeah, utterly different, and in a very good way too. Because it's. I mean, the other one was slightly more. I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe sort of classically sort of driven. Maybe it wasn't so. I think just setting a play in modern day and making it so. So utterly changes it. It really does. It really does, because it's bare bones. So if you want to come and see this production today or tonight, what you're going to get is a real stripped down sort of idea of it. Because I think that's how we live these days. Is very stripped down and to the basics. The sort of I don't know what you'd say. The sort of the society of the era has been sort of faded away in favour of the sort of the violent, the violence of the story, I suppose.
Well, maybe now an ideal time. I think are you going to go in part and give us a couple of minutes, give us a taster so people can come along this evening? Is that what you're doing for me?
We can indeed, yes.
Okay, mic's yours.
I think it probably a good idea to do the famous balcony scene. Would you like a piece
go on.
of that?
Why not?
Oh, it is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were.
Ay me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel.
Romeo. Romeo. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not Montague. What's Montague? Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call Rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, fair saint, is hateful to myself, for it is an enemy to thee.
Art not thou Romeo, and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
Wow, brilliant. Andrew Nance, Romeo, Sarah, Alan, Juliet. Wow, lovely. I mean, the transformation, just watching you both from the conversation we were having to you going into the part, I just loved it. Can I thank you guys for that? Thank you.
Thank
Bless
you.
you, sir.
So, Matt, back to you.
Hello.
You're at the Continental 1:30 today and 7:30 tonight.
Absolutely correct, yes.
And then it's schools around the northwest, is it?
Around the northwest, we've got a couple in Bootle and one in Runcorn. That's Thursday and Friday. And then that is the sad end. Or is it? We've been invited to Italy.
Yes.
To take the production there and create a new production as part of a cultural exchange, which is funded by the EU. Who thought they had any money left? It's crazy.
Wow, brilliant.
Which is a really, really fun opportunity. So the whole casting team are going over to perform Romeo and Juliet in Italy, where it's set, as well as create a new show, which is really exciting.
In English?
In English.
Hope so.
Yes. Yeah.
Otherwise we'll have to get a Rosetta Stone out and get learning.
That's right. Brilliant. Right, can I thank you all for coming in this morning? We've got the news coming up, and you can go along, and you must go along particularly after hearing that. The Continental, of course, here in Preston tonight and this afternoon, 1:30 this afternoon, 7:30 this evening. Can I thank you for coming in?
If you have any news or events you'd like to share with Hughie and our Chat City team, why not give us an email, chatcity@preston.fm.